The Second Amendment is under siege, and not for the first time. To the Americans of the 13 colonies, self-defense was both a right and a duty. All colonies, except Pennsylvania, required gun ownership by militiamen, most adult males. Many colonies also mandated gun ownership by the head of a household, including a woman if she was the head, and sometimes required the carrying of guns when traveling or when going to public meetings, such as church services. The original public meaning of the Second Amendment was safeguarding the natural right to own and carry arms for all legitimate purposes. The difference between self-defense against a criminal invader in the home or against a criminal tyrant with his standing army was only one of scale. Immediately after the Civil War, Southern states enacted black codes designed to keep ex-slaves in de facto slavery. Mississippi's provision was typical. No freedman, quote, shall keep or carry firearms of any kind or any ammunition without police permission. In areas where the Ku Klux Klan took control, civil rights attorney Albion Tourget, who represented Homer Plessy in Plessy versus Ferguson, recounted, quote, almost universally, the first thing done was to disarm the Negroes and leave them defenseless. The Ku Klux Klan was America's first gun control group, as well as America's first domestic terrorist organization. Jim Crow laws became the foundation of gun control in America. These laws spread north in the early decades of the 20th century, aimed primarily at immigrants or labor agitators, or in response to blacks defending themselves against race riots. By the 1920s, movements were afoot to ban all handguns and to require the registration of all guns. But in 1941, Congress decided to ban federal gun registration. Congress was looking in horror at mass shootings and mass murders by many other methods taking place in Nazi-occupied Europe and in the Soviet Union. They could see how gun registration lists compiled by democratic governments, such as the Weimar Republic in Germany or the Third Republic in France, were being used for gun confiscation once the totalitarians took over. In fact, every episode of genocide in the past century has been preceded by assiduous efforts to first disarm the victims. Turkish Armenia, the Holocaust, the USSR, Soviet-occupied Poland, Guatemala under the military dictatorship of the 1950s, Mao's China, Chiang Kai-shek's White Terror, Uganda under Idi Amin, Cambodia under Pol Pot, Zimbabwe, Darfur, and many more. Of course, not every government that uses registration lists for mass confiscation is intent on genocide, but it's indisputable that the genocidaires seem to consider gun confiscation to be a crucial precondition for genocide. Today, the call for national gun registration is back. President Obama is using the murders at Sandy Hook Elementary School to promote registration, as well as massive bans on firearms and gun magazines. What is ultimately at stake is the same question that precipitated the American Revolution: whether the American people are the sovereigns in their own country, or whether they should be ruled from above for their own good, according to the supposedly benevolent commands of the elitist rulers of a European-style society.